Hey, what's up guys? What's going on? Miguel here, FBA bro, and on this video we're just going to be talking about fulfillment by Amazon versus merchant fulfill networks. Pretty much you have two options when you start selling on Amazon, and we're just going to weigh out the pros and cons and break it down for you, and at the end kind of just talk about what's best for you. And also I did want to mention before we get started, we do have a Facebook group and an Instagram, so go check that out. It's on the left hand side, and let's get started with this information. So we're going to start off with fulfilled by Amazon. This is actually from the website, so it might sound weird, but I got this from the Amazon website, and pretty much Amazon describes FBA as one of the most advanced fulfillment networks in the world, and your business can benefit from our expertise. With fulfillment by Amazon, you store your products in Amazon's fulfillment centers, and we pick, pack, ship, and provide customer service for these products. Best of all, FBA can help you scale your business and reach more customers. So that's pretty much what FBA is. So what are the pros to FBA? So the first one's going to be Prime. When your items are at the warehouse, they are automatically Prime, and so any customers that have Prime with Amazon can get the 1-day shipping or 1-day free shipping, 2-day free shipping, or even same-day shipping. Pretty much just free shipping. So that's a plus because people who do have Prime memberships on Amazon tend to purchase more. So if you have the ability to be Prime, you're more likely to get the sale. So that's huge. Also storage. Not all of us have warehouses or storage units or a garage, so if you have a lot of merchandise and you have a problem with storing, you don't have to have a warehouse now for yourself. You could actually just send them into the Amazon warehouse and store all your inventory there. Cool thing is the inventory is all taken care of. The warehouse are climate controlled, so it's a good solid warehouse, and your products are going to be stored in a nice place. So that's neat too. Also, increased sales. You're going to notice a giant difference compared to being a merchant seller, because most people people who shop on Amazon want to buy from Amazon. They want to deal with Amazon instead of a third party. So Amazon does take care of all the customer service, all the packing and the shipping. So the customer is more inclined to go with an FBA seller. So that's a big deal right there. Also, buy box. Amazon is more likely to give the FBA seller the buy box versus the merchant fulfilled. So again, there's more money in there. Also, it's hands off, which is really cool. And the reason why I like FBA, if you can create an efficient system, you can get to the point where you're sending in product to the Amazon warehouse without even looking at it. And you can actually have your supplier. Let's say you have a private label product, and you can have your Chinese supplier or wherever they're from send it from overseas straight to the Amazon warehouse, and you don't even have to look at it anymore. So that's pretty cool. It's hands off. Amazon does all the labor for you. Also, overseas shipping, so that's a big deal too, because there's a lot of customers from Hawaii, for example, or Alaska, or just other parts that requires overseas shipping. Amazon's going to take care of that, and you don't have to pay any extra fees for that if it's going across the sea. Also, profit forecasting, which is neat again. Amazon takes care of all the shipping process, so they already have the fees set for you, so you can kind of get an idea of, how much profit you're going to be making when you're sending and selling those units. You don't have to counter different parts of the world for shipping. For example, if the product's going to Alaska, you don't got to worry about stuff like that. So that's cool. You can predict pretty much your profits a little better, a little more accurate. Also, product protection. Amazon will reimburse you if let's say a worker or an employee runs over your product on a machine that they're on, or the product falls and cracks or something like that. Amazon's going to reimburse you, so that's pretty neat too. Also, feedback protection. There's a lot of stuff. It's really important to keep your feedback healthy and high in order to stay on Amazon and have a healthy account. And there's a lot of things that Amazon will remove if a customer complains about it. For example, if the product is delivered late to their home, that's not your fault. That's actually Amazon's fault because it was fulfilled by Amazon. So there's a lot of things that you can get protected by just being an FBA seller, which is nice. So those are pretty much the pros. They're great. We use FBA ourselves, and so far it's been good. So the FBA cons. So one of the biggest ones is the lack of control. For example, we sell books. So when we send books into the Amazon warehouse, and we get customers sometimes messaging us if the condition of the book. For all we know is the condition of the book is whatever we set it to. We don't know any more further details because the book is not in our hands anymore. It's at the warehouse. So if they're asking about specific questions, as in like, you know, if there's writing in the book, there's no way of telling. So there's lack of control, and it's not a big deal, but sometimes that can make a difference from the customer purchasing the item from you. Also, if you just have a bunch of inventory that's sent in and there is some maybe defect with one of them and you're not sure if all the other units were defected, you don't really have a lot of you can't really control it. You have pretty much like two options. One is to destroy all the inventory. You can have Amazon do that, or you can have Amazon ship it all back to you, but it's a very time consuming process. So that's a con. Also, shipping delays. So sometimes when you're sending out your inventory to the Amazon warehouse, a lot of the times they'll arrive at the warehouse, but it's being delayed. Your unit is being processed, but sometimes that processing can take up to, 2 weeks to 3 weeks, which can sometimes suck, but it's not too bad. Also, fees. You do have monthly fees, you do have long-term fees, and you just also have regular seller fees because you're using their platform, they're fulfilling it for you, they're packing it, they're shipping it, and so there's other fees involved. But if you're in the right parameters, it shouldn't really matter too much, but that's a con to FBA. Also, higher return rate, again, because Amazon has an excellent customer service. They're not really going to argue with the customer. Amazon usually tends to just give the customer the refund without any questions, and that could hurt your sales because it's pretty much automatic. You can't really dispute with the customer too much. Amazon is going to do it automatically, refund them, and then you're left with just fees. So that kind of sucked, but it's not too much of a big deal again. Also, multiple shipment creations. So sometimes you're sending in, let's say you have 100 units of a product, or just different products. You have 100 units. You can only fit so many in certain boxes. And some boxes might end up going to New York because Amazon has a fulfillment center out there. And let's say, for example, we're from California, and sometimes our shipments get sent out to Indiana, or excuse me, like Tennessee, or somewhere down south. And we're over here in California, and there's like a couple warehouses just up the street, pretty much. So that can suck because you get multiple shipments going out through different parts of the state, which could mean that you have to pay higher for shipping, which can be a con, but again, not too much of a big deal if you're in the right parameters. Also, taxes. Taxes is really interesting because some of your item is being stored in different states, and when it is sold, it's technically a transaction that was sold in that state. So tax can be a little weird, but we'll actually go over that in another video, but it's nothing to freak out about, but that is a con. And also we're going to move on to fulfillment by merchant, pretty much, or merchant fulfilled networks. That's pretty much, it's pretty, I'll explain it right here. So merchant fulfilled network sellers ship out their own products directly from their own homes, businesses, or warehouses after receiving orders through Amazon. Locating the stock, packing, arranging the shipping, and providing all the customer service is a direct responsibility of the seller. So you do have a little bit more responsibilities as a merchant, but there are pros, especially if you get a system down and you're very efficient with it. But again, you are going to be stocking pretty much all your inventory, so you got to have a warehouse or something to store your units in, all the packing, and you're also going to arrange the shipping. So let's say if you have a hot product that's selling 100 units a day, well, you do got to ship out those 100 units a day to those individual customers, which again, if you have a system, that's fine, but when you're doing it yourself, it can take time, and it's up to you though if you want to trade your time for money. But that's why I like FBA. But also you're also providing the customer service, so if there's any bad stuff from a customer, you got to handle that to keep your seller performance metrics high and healthy, because Amazon will look at that and get a little disappointed. So here are the pros. First one's going to be higher profit margins. Again, that's kind of huge, especially if you got a system and everything ready to go, and you're selling a hot product. You're gonna make more. For example, if you're FBA, let's say you're profiting $5 from a product, but if you're merchant fulfilled, you'd actually be profiting probably 10 or even more. So it kind of like there's a middle part, and yeah, it's up to you. It's up to you if it's worth sacrificing your time for money, or I mean, again, if you have systems in place, more power to you. Also, less fees. Again, since Amazon is not fulfilling everything, it's not shipping it for you, it's not packing it for you, they're not handling the customer service for you. You just got to pay less, and you don't really got to pay much for fees. All you're really paying for is the ability to sell on their platform, which they take a small percentage of. Also, it's good for long tail inventory. So if you have items that you feel like aren't going to be selling rapidly, you don't really want to send them to a warehouse because they might sit there and pile up on monthly fees and long-term storage fees. So if you have long tail inventory, it's not a bad idea to have a merchant fulfilled network account. Also, a good example is a lot of people who sell books. Sometimes books are ranked really, really high. So having a like inventory at your house, or your own storage unit, you can hold on to that book for as long as you want, and it won't pile up on fees, and therefore you have more profit when that book does sell. Also, bulky items, that's a pro. Let's say you're selling chimney mantles. They're really huge, they're long, they're made out of wood. They can get damaged, and they're not getting pushed out as fast compared to, let's say, a spatula on Amazon. Again, because you don't want to rack up long-term storage fees, and so when the item does sell, you actually have still profit there, and you weren't hurt by fees. So there are also some slight cons to it. The first one's going to be less buy box opportunity, because if you're an FBA seller, Amazon's just most likely going to give it to you, compared to just being a merchant fulfilled network seller. Mainly because Amazon wants to get the sell, and also they can provide all the service and everything, so the customer will be happy. Also, competition with FBA sellers. Again, the FBA seller is usually going to have the upper hand and get the sell, especially if it's the same price and they have Prime. For example, like 1 or 2 day shipping, the customer is more inclined to buy from the FBA seller, especially if they have a Prime account themselves. And also, fulfilling orders, you got to do that all yourself. Again, it takes manpower. Once you develop a system, it's probably not that bad, but you do have to fulfill all the orders. And also, dealing with customer service issues and returns. So that can kind of be hectic. Again, because when there's an issue, the customer is going to actually go straight to you. Amazon's not going to take care of that. So you might have to be on the phone, or you might have to be writing emails more often. And also, especially with returns, it can be a headache sometimes. So that's something you got to deal with. And also, so at the very end, what's best for you? So I'd recommend FBA if you're just trying to get started. It's great, even if you already have an empire. Just let Amazon do all the stuff. It's really hands off. All you got to make sure is you're following the metrics and making those sales, and that's pretty neat. So I'd recommend FBA, and also merchant fulfiller networks. If you have a system already and you want to test it out, you can try that route as well. I personally have no experience with that, and but there are a lot of successful, very, very successful sellers on Amazon who do merchant fulfiller networks. There's a bunch of them. But what I would recommend is maybe try exploring with a combination of both. That's something we ourselves haven't gone into, but why not utilize both? Especially, we might actually start doing that when we start developing our personal brand, and we actually will have our own Shopify, and we'll pretty much have our own systems in place to be able to fulfill all the orders. So guys, let me know what you guys thought about this video. Was it helpful? What are you guys going to go with, or what do you currently use? Do you use FBA or merchant fulfilled, or do you use a combination of both? And that's it, guys. If you guys liked the video, please drop a comment if you have any suggestions, or if you just found this video helpful. Also share it with a friend, and subscribe. And that's about it, guys. Thank you guys for watching the video. Miguel checking out.